You done scrolling?
Yeah, I'm ready.
We're going to try this again. My name is Benjamin. I'm here with my good friend Clay Train. We've known each other for quite a long time. We are here today to talk about our experience the last 7 to 8 years in the construction industry, specifically starting our own businesses.
Yeah.
Hopefully, shedding a little light to anybody out there thinking about doing the same.
Yeah, don't be so serious. You know what I mean? We've ridden some bikes. We've had a good time. We've been friends forever. We've been west.
If you think
We've
that
been
people
south.
want more history on our friendship, then feel free to tell them.
You thinking like dirt bikes, truck campers? What are you thinking here?
Well, yeah, we have a lot of interests that we can get distracted and talk about, but we got to stay
We
focused
can get it
here.
down some rabbit holes with that.
I'm trying to stick to the business because our wives are tired of hearing us talk about motorcycles.
God bless their souls. Yeah, so I'd say 8 years ago, I got out of college. We were probably 22, 23. We're in our 30s now. And
Early 30s.
31, 32.
That's right.
We were trying to figure out.
That's prime time.
30s? Yeah, you're right.
Maybe.
I still felt good.
Sorry,
A little worn out.
keep cutting you
I
off.
know. But we were trying to figure out what to do with our lives. And there was really not a ton of content back then. I mean, YouTube was kind of starting to get going. But we couldn't really find stuff to go over how to get maybe a business going. So we ended up working, talking, trying to figure out what we want to do. We did some jobs, and we kind of stumbled upon fencing. So we put together a business name, and he's good with tech. I'm kind of a boomer with that. Well, we came up with the company Backyard Renovations, and kind of our goal today is to encourage others who might be seeking to start their own business, specifically in construction. That can kind of be a wide range of what you want to get into. But back in the day, our goal was to just kind of be free. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Absolutely.
And I don't think I saw a lot of freedom in that in the first couple of years. But you start to see freedom as you kind of move along. But we got a couple tips and tricks under our sleeve these days. But when we first started, it was putting in fences, putting in mailbox posts, doing some mulching, doing some edging around some landscaping areas.
Yeah, preferably
And,
not mulching.
I know. Mulching's not fun. But, that's where we got our Backyard Reno's name.
It started with just trying to do pretty much anything we could that required having a truck, putting our boots on, having a few tools, and just getting after it.
You got to start somewhere. And you'll figure that out as you go. Like these days, I'm in Kentucky. I mostly do decks. I've probably done 100, 150 decks. I've done a couple hundred fences also. I know you probably don't want to admit to it, but you think you're at 1,000 fences?
I hope not, but it's definitely hundreds of fences. I've lost count at this point, but yeah. And I've done a handful of decks as well, so I'm not going to let Clay write me off as not a deck guy.
Not a deck guy.
But
disrespectful.
I might have to call him. If I do a deck, I might have to call him here and there with a couple questions.
And that's okay. That's why we have each other.
That's right.
So, some things that maybe we need to go over is some natural attributes you have about yourself, in yourself to get started. What are some of those things?
I would say to start at the very basics, using one of Clay's favorite lines, you got to get out of bed.
If you can't get out of bed, if you struggle to get out of bed, just turn this off and go back to sleep.
I couldn't agree more. It's going to be worthless information.
Yeah, and I think on top of that, you need communication. You're going to have to communicate very well, whether that's the people you're working with on your jobs. If you're doing decks, you got to communicate with your building department, stuff like that. And you got to be good picking up your phone and getting back with customers, sending out bids, doing whatever you need to do.
Early on, it's not going to be overwhelming to have good communication because your phone's not going to be buzzing like crazy. You're not going to have 100 people that you're trying to get a hold of, but take the time, take the effort to really put forth communicating properly to if you've got 2 or 3 people you're talking to about jobs, be timely, give them a call back quickly, communicate, if there's a change in a schedule, just people want to know what's going on.
Yeah. And thinking back to when we started, I started at Home Advisor getting leads off of that. And I thought leads would come from Google reviews, Facebook, and a home advisor sends them to you, but it really came from word of mouth, and it's that principle is still true today. Where it's
Absolutely.
like, I've worked for a guy, and he told his buddy, he told his parents, I've worked for them, and then we're at the point now where people move houses every couple of years. I've done three different fences or a couple decks for
Right.
different people, and the snowball kind of picks up.
I don't think you have to feel overwhelmed with marketing and trying to create this monster from the beginning. If you make yourself willing and able, and you take on a job or two, even if it's for your neighbor, even if it's for a family member, whatever it is, there's probably on a weekly basis I'm out at a job and the neighbor's walking the dog and they come up and take a picture of the truck or come and say hey to us and ask what we can do over there. And it's a natural flow. Start it slow, be where you're at and kind of let it grow organically, and enjoy the ride.
Yeah, and it's going to start slow. I think the first year I worked, I may have made 30,000, which you can probably that's probably fine in a W-2 job, but when you're paying for your own stuff, you got business insurance and stuff like that. That's not good money.
Right.
And it probably took 2 years to get rolling, get work through the winter, and have year-round consistent work.
Right.
And you have to get past that point, because I was reading maybe a couple years ago, and it was like 70% of small businesses that start out fail in the first 2 years. You have to get past that 2-year mark. For instance, when winter comes, if you're in a winter area, some of you guys may be south, some of you guys may be west, where that doesn't affect you, but you're going to have times with a gap, and you're going to think, should I be doing this? Is this right for me? Do I need to get another job? And you probably shouldn't, because my dad has had his own construction company for 30 years, and the big thing that he told me when I was first starting is never make a life-changing decision in January and February. You're not in the right headspace. You're not going to be feeling good. So just get past that and just try to keep rolling with it.
As time goes, I think you learn to navigate kind of the ups and the downs of busyness and of just the rhythm of the type of work that you're doing.
Yeah.
But I think as a word of encouragement, this type of work at this stage in the world and in your, wherever you live in your small towns, the work is readily available. Mm-hmm. And if you stay diligent and you handle yourself with respect and you hold yourself to a set of standards and you do a good job, the work will continue to come and you will find success.
Yeah. And start slow. When I was first starting, I had a 06 GMC Savannah 2500 cargo. We were
6
pretty
liter?
much just 6 liter. 6.0 is the only way you can go. And it was me. I think my wife was helping me. But we were putting up Kentucky 3-board fence, 16-foot poplar boards, and those bad boys were hanging 6 foot out of the back of my van. So we had
maybe
taped,
more.
Don't say that. 10 foot of cargo space. So it was starting with cord and tools, whatever you can get your hands on. There's plenty of second market, Facebook, whatnot. You can find older tools. So start slow. I mean, what do you think you really need to have to get started financially?
Well, it's hard to put a number on it these days. Prices are all over the place on everything. I don't even want to dive into that. We could take a moment of silence for the prices pre-2021 to the prices now. And if you think, I think I will. Take a moment of silence. But we have to accept reality now and where things are. Long story short, if you have a truck, you're ahead of the game. If you have a truck or a van, that can get you started in pretty much any construction avenue. And outside of that, you're going to probably need some type of trailer. You're going to need a handful of tools. But realistically, outside of a truck and a trailer, you can go to the moon with that, or you can keep it pretty simple. But, a couple few $1,000s in tools, I think, maybe less, can get you there outside of a truck and trailer. That can be all over the board.
Yep.
But with the way that we started, we were open to all types of projects, and I know we touched on this, but as you go, you do start to develop your niche.
Mm-hmm. Niche.
Niche.
There you go.
I think niche is that's the proper term. But as you go, you learn and you find a lane. And you don't necessarily have to stick to a lane. I think Clay and I both have realized with the way that we do things, we enjoy probably having one primary service.
That's how you expedite things. Is once you get enough ground, once you get good at something, and something that I hope that we do is we start putting out content about how to build decks, how to get a straight line on a fence, how to install fences. So we'll be putting all that stuff out here soon. But look up YouTube of how to do certain things. There's plenty of content out there to figure it out.
Right. Pretty much any construction project you want to learn how to do,
It's on there.
you can learn on the internet. And I'm not saying that you should be learning how to do that project while you're at the job, but if you study techniques and you practice them, and there's a lot you can learn that you didn't used to be able to.
Yeah, and with that, you kind of have to be a natural risk taker to an extent. You can't
you
be
do.
like you're going to fail, you're going to mess stuff up. Figure it out, fix it, keep it moving. And these days, sitting here 8 years later, I can show up to a job with a blueprint. You can do the same thing with fences, and we can close our eyes and build it at this point.
Don't get ahead of yourself.
I can.
They're clean. His decks are clean. I will say
you can
that.
check us out at Backyard Renos on Instagram. See for yourself. But
You can judge the lines by yourself. See how straight they are.
Nobody puts in a straighter line than this guy.
When you look at the pictures of the decks that Clay's done, I need you to zoom in very closely, check the cuts,
Check my corners.
and if you see something out of line, we need that highlighted.
Leave a comment.
He needs
We
to be
can
kept
handle it.
accountable.
Thank you.
We
But
all do.
I think another thing too is you have to find like-minded people, whether that's guys your age, girls your age, whatever. Find guys in the industry. I think how we stumbled upon them is we just started going to supply shops, and you run into other guys there. You run in a lot of these guys, specifically in trades. Probably we would fall under carpenters. I bet you if you looked it up, their retirement age somewhere in their 60s. These guys are looking to hand the knowledge down. There's a lot of guys that'll subcontract work for you. They'll kick jobs over to you for a small fee,
Right.
and you can just pick up work that way. And then you'll start talking to their neighbors and everything will kind of fall in line. So
I think it's surprising how many, I guess I'd call them old timers, you run into in whatever field that is that you might be going after, that are their willingness to shed light on the situation and kind of just really take you under their wing. I think both of us have had, at least a couple guys that have really kind of helped guide us through, unknown situations and things that we weren't sure about, and really just lended a helping hand just because.
yeah, and I think a big point to that is there's a nasty stereotype in construction where there's a lot of drug guys, a lot of felons, and if you carry yourself well, you will get respect from the other guys.
It's in general, there's a lot of it can be a rough industry.
Yeah.
And if you hold yourself to a certain standard, you can immediately stick out.
Yep. Keep your trucks clean. Try to keep the rust off the trucks. Tie your boots. Look presentable.
The next video, as Clay says, keep your trucks clean. The next video, we're gonna do a quick.
You don't want to see the inside of my work truck, but the outside looks fine.
We're gonna do a quick run through of Clay's toolboxes. Primarily his cab. We'll see how clean that is. So.
Some of us work like all day, and we don't take an hour off at the end to organize everything. So there's two different ways of looking at that.
Well, look, guys, we are here we're having fun. Number one, it's winter out, so we're really not doing a whole lot of work outside. So we thought this would be a good time to spend some time, hopefully meet some like-minded people, hopefully put some information that can be helpful and useful to some people that were in our shoes 6 or 7 years ago. So feel free to reach out with any questions. Criticism is encouraged.
Leave a comment.
Challenge some ideas. Let's get the ball rolling here.
If there's something else you want us to get into or something we missed, let us know. So let's let the good times roll.
Stay strong, stay motivated, stay humble.
You got to stay humble.
And let's keep it going. See you next time.